Hi everyone, my name is Stormi the Folf, and today I want to talk about the Drekkubus? I can't read! And hi everyone, my name is Stormi the Folf, and it's time for another original species video. This time I'm going to discuss the Drekkubus. And yes, that is how you pronounce it. Raise a pause if you got it right the first time. Anyone? No? No? So, what are Drekkubus? The Drekkubus, which is both singular and plural, which you can also refer to as Drek or Drekkies, are a sentient mammal species. Being an open, original species, anyone can make one, provided you follow its guidelines. Now, I know what a few of you are thinking. Oh god, more rules so I can't have fun making my Drekkubus. But actually, there are a ton of ways you can make your own unique Drekkie. With this species, you get a lot of creative freedom, so to speak. Drekkubus are long-eared, stand upright, and have semi-human intelligence while still maintaining an animal-like instinct. They can also perform a type of magic called Affinities. When I first heard about these species, I was immediately reminded of Klonoa, a video game character with the super long ears, which is just adorable. Anyway, Drekkubus have several distinctive traits with regards to their appearance. Most notably, those big old floppers. I have little floppers, so the Drekkubus got me beat there. They have powerful hearing abilities as a result. They also have a fluffy mane on their back and chest, two distinctive horns on their head, and they have large paws with big peats, and a long, droopy tail. And they have got some sharp maws. Now, these are just the common traits. There is actually a lot more you can customize and choose from when making one, which we'll get into shortly. Now, this species also has a heavily developed backstory. To be fair, you don't really need a backstory to make an original species, but the Drekkubus take this to a whole nother level. Seriously, there's so much material here, it's just hecking awesome, and there's no way I could fit it all into this one video, so if y'all are interested, I'll include a link in the description below. So, let's trek right into it. Get it? Because Drekkies sound like Trekkies, which are fans of a sci-fi series called Star Trek, which is... Anyway, the Drekkubus species is owned and conceived by Rai Archambault, aka Mambo, also known as Caravel on Fur Affinity. When I asked Mambo what inspired the Drekkubus, she replied that she was drawing a cat skull one day out of boredom, and after visiting a friend who owned some goats, inspiration struck and she added goat horns to the skull. A page was opened for the new closed species, which exploded with tremendous interest. Despite this, however, Mambo wasn't satisfied with the skull faces and later opted to give them a real face instead, along with opening the species to the public. Here's an original concept image of Mambo, one of the first 10 created. When it comes to abilities, all Drekkies have a magical skull mask that can be summoned at any time for things like battles, festivals, and other important events. Some Drekkies wear their mask at all times, others just never use it at all, but for the most part, Drekkies only use them in times of conflict. Kind of like how I can summon a potato when things start to get a little rough. Drekkubus also possess certain magical affinity abilities, which could be things like ice or water, fire, energy, earth, air, light, and dark magic. Although Drekkubus can only use one single affinity, no god mode here, affinities are also not weapons. And despite all this, you can have a Drekkubus who has an affinity that may not serve any particular purpose at all. Going back to the skull mask once more, when in use, the eyes will disappear and illuminate with bright flames. This power dates back to an ancient ability when Drekkubus were related to a type of dragon. Body types. First, there's the standard body type. Standard Drekkies are anywhere from 3 to 6 feet tall, can bear eggs, their arms and hand paws are well developed, have long tails which can elevate when walking, have very big and long ears, they can be aquatic, they are bottom heavy, and lastly are the most intelligent and civilized species of the group. The lesser body type. Following its name, this body type is shorter at about 2 to 3 feet. They have smaller arms which are folded towards the chest, a skinny tail, a hunched appearance. They always have dark tipped ears, kind of like I do. I have dark tips on my ears. They cannot bear eggs, they cannot be aquatic, and stand more like an upright cat when compared to the standard type. And finally, there's the behemoth body type. These gargantuan Drekkies are anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall. They cannot ride a par mount, which we'll get into shortly. They have huge muscular bodies with proportionately large arms and small legs. They have bigger horns and a larger face with an underbite, and are also extremely fluffy, and overall, yeah, these things are massive. Don't get on the bad side of a behemoth. But creating a Drekkubus goes way beyond just picking a body type. You gotta choose your fur type too, which could be the standard, maned, draped, rigid, dune, plume, possum, woolly, aquatic, or you could just make your own fur type. Think outside the floof. Now, there is absolutely no way I can fully cover all of these fur types in detail, but I will touch up on the aquatic one. With a swimming Drekkie, you can choose from the aquatic form, leafy form, full fin type, webbed type, dolphin type, and a Drekkie shark do-do-do-do-do. I'll never do that again, I swear. And when it comes to eyes, you get a lot of creative freedom here. Although the sclera, iris, and pupil must be visible at all times, you can make the pupil any shape you'd like and use whatever color scheme you prefer. Experiment! Most Drekkies also have horns. There are a ton of choices here, or heck, you could even make your own. The rule is, however, the horns must go on top of the head. They can't go on the sides, kind of like how Dutchies are, but they always have to be like on the head, and you can only have 2 horns. Drekkies defend themselves by whipping their tail, biting you with deadly bacteria, and ripping enemies apart with their long, bear-like claws. Needless to say, don't anger a Drekkie. Drekkies also like to hoard trinkets, treasures, and food, much like one of my cats. The Drekkies also have their own homeworld called Beryl Shad. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This fantasy world consists of 6 great nations known as Pakui Nation, Dairen Kingdom, High Ridge Badlands, Windgrass Country, South Marsh Territory, and the Rent Sea, and again, I hope I pronounced those correctly. It's important to note, however, that your Drekkubus does not have to be canon. It does not have to come from the world of Beryl Shad. This is totally optional. And if you want to learn more about the world of Beryl Shad, check out the links in the description. And now for some Drekkie vocab. Fays are female Drekkies. Drakes are male Drekkies. I wonder if we could call them Drakkies. Beryl Shad is the land that canon Drekkubus live upon. Sand Festival is a summer festival where all nations come together to celebrate life and probably eat lots of cheese. Drekkies love their cheese. And lastly, an Apar is a Drekkubus mount. They're 6-legged beasts and are often, but not always, gifted to the Drekkubus at birth. Now let's check out some examples of Drekkubus. This here is Pepper. Pepper is a common cheat, standard rigid Dre Drekkie. They go by him, he, his pronouns, and possess the dark affinity. It's just, ugh. I want one of these beans now, they're too cute for words! And this little cutie is Dart. They're a lesser Drekkie with Link's facial fur, and he loves cooking potatoes. You're cooking my people? Are you kidding me right now? It's okay, maybe they don't know they're eating my people. I'll just let this one slide, just because they're super adorable and precious. And this cute bean is Mambo. This is the species owner's Drekkie. Mambo possesses the energy affinity. He uses plasma to create dancing images between his horns, usually musical notes when he sings or plays around. Mambo is famous throughout his homeland for making instruments, his lute and voice in the Bird Clan village, which is located in the Pakui Nation of Beryl Shad. These abilities are said to be blessings from nature. Mambo is also a very friendly Drekkie and just wants to be friends with everyone. And lastly, we have Splat. He is a gigantic behemoth Drekkubus with huge floofy hair, and their magic ability, or affinity rather, allows them to create little minions inspired by Bendy and the Ink Machine and bring them to life for a short time. Plus, they're a stellar artist, earning them the title of Inkromancer. Namesake. One thing you might be wondering, why are they called Drekkubus? Well, it turns out Mambo had previous intentions of making them spooky, scary beings. I believe the phrase is a portmanteau of the words dreadful incubus. Why you might want one. Me personally, I want one Just look how cute they are! And look how weird and unusual they're built, and just the floppy ears. Some of y'all know how I feel about floppy ears. I also haven't found a lot of original species that are as heavily developed as Drekkubus are. Seriously, there is so much information on this species, it's just insane. But you may want a Drekkie if you're looking to be part of an awesome group of magical creatures with ginormous listeners who obsess over cheese because cheese is just the best thing in the world. No, potatoes are the best thing in the world. But cheese is up there too. The Drekkubus species is also really starting to take off in terms of popularity. We've already got a few Drekkie suitors and one artist that has begun to make 3D models of them. And if you want to make your own Drekkie suit, there are bases for them from DVC. And while there's a lot you need to keep in mind when making a Drekkie, also realize there are a ton of ways you can customize your Drekkie and tailor them to really stand out. All of this can be a little bit overwhelming, so don't be afraid to ask for help in the official Drekkubus Facebook group when making one. And of course, if you'd rather adopt one, that's cool too. If you want to learn more about this species, check out all the links in the description. There is no way in Potato I can cover every single itty bitty detail about the Drekkies. They are just way too developed and expansive and detailed to cover in one sitting, and it just blows my mind how much work has gone into making the Drekkubus. It's definitely one of my favorite original species, for sure. I gotta get one. And special thanks to Mambo Drekkie, the admins, and everyone in the Drekkubus group who responded to my post. Even if I couldn't include your Drekkie, y'all are helping me learn so much about this awesome species, and for that, I am eternally grateful, and thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on Drekkies and perhaps what species I should cover next. Oh, and push that subscribe button thingy, please. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Bye bye!